How do you want to start that? It's not the right time. We'll be a little bit longer. When we get to this pandemic, we can't even gather. It's we need to wait until after the election. We need to wait until the cows come home.
I don't have to wait to have a conversation with somebody I don't know so well. And I think that's how it starts. I, I had an experience last week where I was able to meet with somebody that I'd never really talked with. And we spent 2 hours just getting to know each other. And then that person knew somebody else who was present and went and got those people and brought them over. And I met those people. Well, there is the beginning of a network.
Yeah.
And it was an intentional meeting to begin with, but where it went was, I didn't have an ABCD map. It just happened. And I think that's what you do. I think that's how you do it. You just start. And then you can add your steps and you can add your plans and you can add your training and all that. Some kind of openness is needed. I think in the 60s, we thought we'd done the work and we put a Band-Aid on a really deep wound. And now it's all just festering. And so we have to start again.
I don't think I've got time to wait. That actually is an issue to me because I see enough gray hair to know that the days on the calendar are falling off quickly. And I don't want to leave here when I'm looking at the same confounded mess that I saw in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. I don't have time or patience to say, no, another time will come. If it's not now, with everything that's going on, I don't think it will ever come. I think we will lose the best opportunity we've had in the last 200 years to make a difference.
I think it starts with what Zibby said, and I think Dwala said it earlier about relationships and invitations. I think we got to constantly invite people into our circle to talk about these issues, to discuss them. If we invite one, they may have two that they can invite in. And before we know it, we have a consortium, if you will, or we built a relationship around a common cause that we can talk about now. And we don't see each other as the other anymore.
I'd also say, this hasn't been just kind of any ordinary year. There have been egregious examples of both state and vigilante violence against Black people that they're not a new thing, but they've been hard to miss, especially in a time pandemic when everyone's tuned into social media and the news. And if the Episcopal Church doesn't step up to the plate at this moment, there's going to be a serious crisis of authenticity. People are going to wonder what the church is even for. If it can't speak to issues that are in the streets, that again, it's almost impossible to miss. People are going to start checking out. I mean, there's a really prophetic warning in Letter from Birmingham Jail where Dr. King says that basically if the churches don't confront the issues at hand of racial injustice, that young people are going to start just saying that this is not authentic. These, and they're going to check out. And I think there's a moment like that right now.
Dwala, you ready?
Yes, I think we're seeing that where young people are checking out of the churches, not just ours, but certainly across the country, we see that. My mother always had a statement, there's no time like the present. And all you have is the present. We don't have tomorrow, we just have today. And while that seems trite and maybe even a bit elementary, it is our reality because we know what our issues are today. We know what we have the individual and the collective capacity to do, but we don't know what tomorrow brings. And so if I'm trying to do the best that I can this day in reaching out to my brothers and sisters across racial, social lines, whatever those barriers are, then I'm moving in the direction that Jesus would expect me to move. And one of the things that I, ask myself, especially as I get older, is, that old question that the old folks would ask, if Jesus were to come to you right now, if you were to see him right now, what would you say to him that you've actually been able to get done? And with regards to racial justice, I would have to limit it to my work environment when I was a teacher and a principal, but then I have all those years hence. And so for me, the time is right now. It is today, because clearly there is no tomorrow until tomorrow comes. And so I'm ready now to do whatever we need to do to build those relationships and to do it in this environment, because this environment allows us truly, this virtual environment allows us to really reach more people in a more timely manner. And so if there are one or two people here or there across the diocese who have any interest at all, then I'm prepared to say, look, this is my phone number. Let's talk. Let's just get to know each other, because clearly we all know that we have far more in common. We know that. That's just a fact. We have far more in common than what we think our differences are, based on the color of our skin, which is, just, it still takes my breath away that all of this is based on people's race, and that race is about the color of your skin. And so I think that there are people across this diocese, I'm convinced there are across this diocese who are going to want to be a part of this. And as I said before, I'm really looking forward to those conversations beginning.